Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive. Worst episode ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons, by people who love The Simpsons, about how much we hate The Simpsons. We're here trying to find which is the worst episode ever. And as always, my name is Dan.
As always, my name is Jack.
And we are back with another Halloween episode.
What? We just did one last
did
week.
one last week, but this one, Jack, is slightly different.
It's not about Halloween?
It is about Halloween, but it's not a Treehouse of Horror episode. We are doing an episode that aired a few weeks ago. It aired October 18th, 2015, from season 27, Halloween of Horror. Have you seen this one?
No.
I knew you were going to say that, but I asked it anyway. All right, I haven't seen it either. It aired very, very recently, and you guys really suggested that we do it because you said this episode was really, really good.
Yeah,
so
I even
we
had
have high hopes,
somebody
actually.
at work come up to me while I was at my desk. It was just like, that Halloween episode was good.
Yeah, so
I was like, thank you.
we've got pretty high hopes. Maybe this is the tide turning, and season 27 is going to really
comeback
pull
season.
up.
So far, not so much because we've already covered an episode from the season just a couple weeks ago.
We did, although I heard good things about some of the other episodes. So we'll see. I don't know.
All right.
Who knows? So we're trying season 27 again.
Wait a
that's what we're
second,
doing
but
today.
this is, I'm assuming this airs in November, a Halloween episode.
This episode of Worst Episode Ever will be coming out in November, yes.
I don't know, Halloween episode in November, that's,
It's classic Simpsons is what it is, my friend.
all right.
That's why we're doing it. So Halloween of
The
Horror...
World Series might actually preempt our podcast, though.
That's true.
saying.
So if you're listening to baseball instead of us, that has
That's
happened.
why.
That's
you
why.
Literally, you turned on Worst Episode Ever on your iPhone or your smartphone or whatever, and you just get like preempted baseball.
Yep. Just a baseball game.
It's not even the World Series. It's a Little League game from Spokane.
If you're listening to that, you have downloaded the wrong thing. But if you're listening to this...
And that Spokane Little League podcast, stop using our logo.
Get off our turf, guys.
We know your team logo looks suspiciously like an itchy and scratchy-eyed version of me and Dad.
Yes.
But
Nelson's
that's no
Goon
excuse.
and the very long-lipped
Don't
man.
call your podcast Worst Episode Ever. It's very misleading.
Yes.
and I don't even get the parentheses of Simpsons podcast. You're
Yeah,
clearly
it's
about
a baseball
Little
team.
League.
It's not even a podcast.
It's just literally just audio from a baseball game.
How absurd. But anyway, this is it's a Halloween episode that is not a Treehouse of Horror episode. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break and watch it. If you have not done so, you can do it on Simpsons World. And this episode is also up on Hulu as of the time you're listening to this. If you're listening to this the day it comes out. Which is also a Simpsons trivia night. But we'll save that for later. So yeah, I think we're going to take a break. You guys should watch this. And we'll come back. We got a special guest. We'll introduce him in a moment.
Very special guest. That you may have met
very
before.
special guest.
Sort of.
If you know him personally.
So, Taylor's back.
Taylor just makes me feel so safe. I don't know why I ever gave it up.
Breaks my heart that Lisa can't deal with her emotions without a crutch.
Well, kids are weak, Marge. Oh, yeah.
So, that was Halloween of
Horror.
It
It sure was.
episode.
It sure was.
Uh,
It sure was.
Interesting episode. Before we get into it, we should introduce our guest. He's been on the show before, way back in our 12th, 13th
Episode 12.
12th episode,
Our first
our Drunken New Year's.
Yep.
He was sitting on the couch playing, what was it, Candy Crush? What were you playing?
What?
You
I
played
do
some...
not play Candy Crush.
Oh, how dare you impugn him.
How dare you?
Anyway, he was in the producer's
I was
booth.
the peanut gallery.
He was the
Yes,
peanut
he
gallery.
was the
He was
peanut
sitting in the
gallery.
producer's booth.
He was driving us during our second Traffic Jam cast.
Oh, that's
also.
right. He was on our Traffic Jam cast. If you haven't caught that,
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that's out. But that's only on the website.
which is funny because you were the sober one. Anyway, his name is Geoff Wolyniec. How's it going, Jeff?
Not bad. How about you guys?
Good, Jeff. Happy
I
to
don't
have
think
you.
a guest has ever asked us how
No.
we were doing. Thank you. That's very, very, very polite of you.
Good.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Yeah, really. My
By
brother.
the way, yeah, the last guest was his asshole brother.
Yeah, really.
He's just like, I'm good, thanks.
He's just like, let's talk about the Simpsons.
I don't care how you are, but I'm good. Jeff, for those of you who don't know, which I'm assuming is all of you, Jeff is a very good friend of ours way back in high school.
Yes.
Part of our very
Our tight-knit
crew, the crew
yes,
we used to
the
call
crew
it back in
of
high
our
school.
high school crew, yes.
Core member, original founding member of the crew.
Yes.
Driving member.
The driving member,
that's
the one that drives.
And you still are. You drive us home from Simpsons Trivia, and when you don't, we have to drive ourselves, and we see these weird traffic jams.
Yeah. So let's get your Simpsons profile. Do you still watch the show?
No.
No.
I'll catch,
Yeah, well, we used to
syndication every
watch
now
a
and
few.
again,
I would
and-
show you back when I lived in Staten Island, and I would catch a good one. I would show you on my TiVo when I was like still on my TiVo.
You would skip through it and show me the good parts.
Yeah,
That's probably the best way to watch
It really
I
was.
remember we watched the Halloween one from a few years ago, and there was the Transformers parody with like the little Transformer robots, and one of them had a Charles Bronson voice, and he's like, "Hey, nice planet."
Yeah.
That- we still say that every once in a while
That's pretty good.
when Jeff's driving around.
That's pretty good, yes.
I just randomly go, "Nice planet."
Looking around.
Jeff's like a friend / driver, basically.
He's
I'm
Alfred.
sorry, Jeff.
A show friend.
He's Alfred.
You're our Alfred.
You're the Alfred of WEE
Best
Studios.
friend,
There you go.
but you drive us around.
A
It's
show friend.
indeterminate which one of us is Batman or Robin. We'll just leave that out there. But we'll. But Jeff is clearly the Alfred of the group.
What do you have a favorite episode? I know I was going to ask you, we usually ask what favorite season, but we'll get a typically Jeff response. I don't know seasons.
What are you talking about?
Meanwhile, I know them by color.
Yes. I can smell them.
I actually even looked up the name. You only moved twice, so I guess would be
yes.
my
Oh,
favorite
see,
episode.
that's one of Dan's favorites.
I would have called it the Scorpio episode,
Scorpio episode,
and then-
yeah.
but I wanted to seem somewhat
one of my-
professional and then completely undermine myself by telling you all that I looked up.
Way to go. I was very impressed you did the title, but now I just think you're a liar. But that's a great episode. Classic.
You're pretty much a classic fan. You the new episodes you don't see as funny.
I don't see jokes in them.
It's a good. You see them as they are.
You see dead episodes.
What else? What else do we want? We want our Wii fans to get to know Jeff the way we know Jeff. What's your sign? What's your horoscope sign?
What's the October one?
What are you?
Wait, October. What's your birthday?
It's Scorpio.
Scorpio. Yeah, that's why I like the
didn't wanna
Scorpio one so much. Wait.
I thought it sounded
that's really
ridiculous. I
funny.
didn't really. It's like,
Yeah.
So you're a
wait,
Scorpio.
is it Scorpio? No,
You're-
that's not right. That's the guy from The Simpsons.
We are recording this October 20.
It's 24th today.
Isn't your birthday tomorrow?
It would be tomorrow.
So it's 9 o'clock at night. So in about 3 hours, it's your birthday. So, wait. First things first. Happy birthday is now public domain. I don't know if you heard this.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
There's a lawsuit.
It
The
is.
family lost the rights. We are now allowed to sing
So we
Happy
can sing
Birthday,
Happy
not have to
Birthday.
pay thousands of dollars. So me and Dan, and you guys can join along too, and you at home, me and Dan are going to sing as our impression of Sideshow Mel, our collective impression.
Which is two people talking at
My
once.
girlfriend just walked in. She has a cake, chocolate mousse with a candle for
Yes.
Jeff. So he's going
I
to
do
blow out
like
the
chocolate
candle.
mousse.
There you
I
go.
do abhor birthdays.
So we know.
Well, that's why we're putting you on the
Anyway,
spot.
All
without-
of these
without-
people
without-
saying happy birthday
Without
to me.
further ado, here's Sideshow Mel by himself singing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeff. Free Wolyniec. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my god.
Blow it out. Anyway,
Make a wish.
Jeff probably doesn't know we are Sideshow
this
Mel.
would stop.
we do a slightly out of sync collective Sideshow Mel impression. That's from our show.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that what that's
Missy
from?
probably doesn't realize
is,
that
it
either.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Don't listen.
Anyway, he's blowing out the
fan.
candle.
Not a
Those
fan
at
of
home,
the
he's
show.
blowing out the candle. It's a
it,
relighter.
it's
It's
alright. I can
back.
see it sparkling.
It's back on.
As
so,
you blow it
so
out.
for the
He's
next
got it
hour,
really, really hard.
for the next hour, Jeff will be blowing out his birthday candle.
Wait. You got it.
He got it.
No.
The candle is
Yeah, just so.
back.
All night.
Anyway, happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you. I
Now
guess.
let's record a podcast.
Jeff loves chocolate mousse. Hates
Hates
any
being put on the
attention
spot.
whatsoever. A certain amount. Don't eat it now. We're recording a podcast.
Just take a break. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So,
You're all cut.
Happy birthday to.
this just is. They filed for appeal, and now happy birthday costs $80,000. All right, here we go. So with that out of the way, let's do a quick plot recap of this Halloween episode.
Let's do it.
And
There
again,
was a plot?
It's not a trilogy of vignettes or quadrilogy these days. It's just a solid regular episode, and Homer. It starts out with Homer and Marge. Basically, Homer has gone all out decorating the house with Halloween decorations. He's very excited. Seems to be his favorite holiday of the year. Lisa's excited. She's old enough to finally go into the haunted house town amusement park. What thing? She goes. She gets scared shitless to the point where she's actually
She has no shits.
She has no shits. She's reverted back to her blankie, which is taily, like a raccoon tail stuffed animal kind of thing, and she's just afraid of everything now to the point where Homer actually has to take down his all the decorations. He's heartbroken. Also, Homer accidentally got these 3 creepy guys fired from a Pooh's Halloween store, and they vow revenge. Bart is upset that Halloween is kind of ruined because of Lisa, so to make up for it, Marge takes him trick-or-treating in this really nice neighborhood, but they're not allowed in, and then basically his Halloween's ruined. He can't trick-or-treat, and they're also out to the point where there's a change to adult Halloween, where the kids go to bed, and now all the adults get drunk and liquored up. There's a musical number and everything. Meanwhile, back at the house, the 3 creepy guys is kind of like one of those... what's that movie?
The Strangers.
Yeah, like The Strangers or...
My voice, I went hey puberty as I said that. The Strangers!
One of those movies where you're trapped in the house and you got killers in the house with you. Homer and Lisa are trapped, and I guess I don't know what the people were going to do to him when they finally found him. I don't know if they were actually going to kill him or what.
I assumed they were going to rape Homer. You got that? Nah, leave it in. I don't care.
That's what they said.
That's right. Oh. Oh boy.
So Homer and Lisa escape to the roof, and Lisa has to use Tally, or Homer has to use Tally to light fireworks to call for help, and basically Lisa gets over her fears by being scared even more, I guess, and she offers Tally as a sacrifice, and they call for help, and they're saved, now everybody can celebrate Halloween again because Lisa's over her fears, so Bart's happy, and everything's wrapped into a neat little package.
A neat little package indeed.
This episode has a very good reputation the last week or so, the 5 days since it's aired, and people are loving it.
Now it was a few weeks ago when you're listening to this, but when we're recording it,
I really wish I didn't know. I wish I went into it with no expectations.
It would have been interesting, but I feel like since people suggest episodes to us, I don't think we could have possibly gone into it.
Did you like it?
I loved this episode.
Yeah?
I did. I really did. I thought this was really, really good.
Yeah, see, I thought it was really good as well, like better than normal, but I don't know if that's again the expectations are like I was kind of let down. I was like, it wasn't that good.
It was not the funniest episode. There were a lot of things I liked in it that were funny.
Well, we'll get into it, but
we'll get into it.
Jeff, did you like it?
I felt it was watchable.
All right, that's
Like
from
you
Jeff.
said,
That's a
it was-
huge compliment.
It really is.
That's a big get from you.
It was watchable.
You've
Not
referred to
many
this
laughs.
podcast as,
Listenable.
and this is the greatest podcast ever made. This is a free podcast. You
And
get
Jeff just calls it
characters.
listenable. So that tells you if something's watchable, it is the quality equivalent of this podcast.
That's right. So watch the episode.
Yeah, no, I was surprised at I guess the biggest surprise of the episode wasn't. I mean, some of the jokes were really funny, but there's always funny.
Yeah,
Even
there
the
was.
bad episodes, there's funny jokes. I think the biggest surprise were the characters.
Well, okay, so let's just since we're talking overall about this episode, I think what made this episode really, really work for me is all of the little things that they never pay attention to in the post-classic episodes, they really paid attention to in this one. Like, this is an episode where character matters, where the story matters, where things lead into other things. You have this major plot where Lisa is fine with Halloween, and she's super excited that she can go to this haunted amusement park finally, because now she's 8 years old. She's excited about that, and it blows up in her face where she's terrified. And then we see the outcome. How does this affect everyone else in the family?
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have a genuinely creepy, scary Halloween-type story with these killers in the house.
Yeah.
And, like, not only, so it's rare for them to actually have a story, you know, I wasn't scared per se, but it was really well done. It was very genre.
It was unsettling.
It was, and they did it, it was, yeah, if not, it was almost more genre. I can't think of another scene in any episode that was this, even the Sideshow Bob episodes are this genuinely, like, taking it that serious.
Sideshow Bob, I mean, he's a clown, almost literally. Like, he's a sidekick,
Yeah.
he has a big, weird hairdo, like, he's scary, he can be scary, but he's fundamentally a cartoon character.
Right,
like,
right.
these guys, like, you could recognize these guys as real
It seemed like one of these
people.
horror movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And, well, just talking about
Yeah.
those guys, I thought it was especially interesting that they were, one of them didn't speak, so he wasn't voiced by anyone.
Yeah.
But the other two, one was voiced by Nick Kroll, and the other was voiced by Blake Anderson, who's very popular from Workaholics. And I thought, like, both
Jeff's
of
a
them
big
did
Workaholics
really,
fan.
really great jobs.
I was.
I thought both of them were really, really good. Like, Nick Kroll, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I think he's very, very funny. He was, like, creepy in this episode. Like,
Yeah.
he played it really, really
And
well.
they didn't sounded like cue card readings. Like, usually
No.
when you get a guest star and
Like, they were acting.
It felt like they felt like Simpsons characters, which
Yeah.
is a great compliment for guest stars.
Yeah. What'd you think, Jeff?
Well, I felt, like Nick Kroll was more of the straight creepy, and then
Yeah,
Blake
he was,
Anderson
like,
was
the
more of the
leader.
wacky
The
creepy.
weirdo, yeah.
Yeah.
Little
Which
too
was
far
also
A
gone.
little unhinged.
Yeah.
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 What was it in the Last House on the Left remake? The Jesse Pinkman character.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it was weird that the third one didn't talk. Like they
That was
couldn't.
strange.
Made him even creepier.
I guess.
I guess that's the idea.
Yeah, I just figured they just didn't want to get a
Maybe
third
if he
guest
had more
star.
of a non-verbal personality, but he didn't even
Yeah,
have
that's
that.
right.
Well,
And that's a
yeah.
good point. If you're gonna
Stand-
make him quiet, then you got to make that like part of like the Superman 2 villain.
Right.
That's got to be part of his thing. I didn't even notice he hadn't said anything till when I asked who the guest stars were. And
Right. I only had two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. They didn't really do much with there. But
yeah.
but
So-
overall, yeah, I thought it was really fun.
So anyway, back to my point about the plot. So you have this creepy horror plot, but that's the surface. That's not what the episode's about. It's about Lisa's fear.
Yeah.
And the plot is really just something for that character plot, that character story to react against. That's
Yeah.
great. That's the best kind of storytelling we say on the show. We're always looking for
Right.
when the plot, the high concept kind of stuff, is not only motivated by a character, which it wasn't really motivated by character in this. It would have happened whether she was scared or not, but it's informed by this
Right.
this character arc going on. That's why we're watching it.
If I
It's
didn't
brilliant.
know better, I would say that the writers listened to our podcast. I know for a fact they do not. I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost positive that they do not listen to this show. But a lot of the things that we say we want to see were in this episode.
In this
it was
episode,
experimental.
a lot of things were.
It was very experimental because not only is it the first non-Treehouse Halloween episode they've ever done, but it's genuinely scary.
It's a
like
genre
this is really,
thriller.
there's like creepy stuff happening in this
Yeah.
episode.
That's experimental. Yeah, you're right.
It's a story where Lisa gets to be a little girl, and the focal point of the episode is this familial
And Bart,
dynamic
and
that
Bart's
we
being a
love.
little
And
boy.
Bart, yeah, exactly, and that's all paid off. It's all there.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
This
not
is-
shoehorned in. There's
They
nothing
clearly-
shoehorned
They clearly
in.
were listening to the show.
That's what it is. So Carolyn, oh my.
Yeah, let's bring up this writer
Writer
because
of the episode.
last week we did a real like a traditional Treehouse
Yes,
of Horror
Treehouse
episode,
22.
and she wrote that
She
one.
also
which,
wrote that
which confuses
episode.
me. I feel like I thought they have different writers for each segment, but
She's
fixed
the only
staff,
credited
she's the
writer,
only credited
so-
writer. And that episode was not very good.
Yes.
So it's kind of remarkable that this episode is. Why don't they do this kind of episode every? Maybe
So-
it's easy with a holiday episode.
Well, here's
but-
my thinking there.
Yeah.
She's worked on the show for a number of years, so it's not like they brought a new writer in who had like.
Well, she also wrote Lucas, which I hated, and you didn't like, and she wrote Strong Arms of the Ma, which we haven't watched, but that's one
That's
of our
very
most
heavily
suggested.
requested,
Apparently,
yes.
it's a very bad episode. So
Yeah.
did she just get lucky? What
well,
happened?
no.
here?
Here's my thinking.
She listened to the podcast.
She listened to the podcast, obviously. Carolyn, we love you, baby. Boobala, right in. We'll get you on the show. I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. But my theory is this is the first Halloween episode ever.
Of any TV show.
Of any TV show ever. No, this is the first real Simpsons Halloween episode. So there's no preconceived notions going into this. Like, we don't really know what Homer thinks of Halloween. We don't really know how
That's
Lisa
a good
reacts
point,
to
yeah.
fear.
That's-
Like, we've never
that's a good
seen
point.
these kinds of things at play before. So even though it's season 27, this episode feels really,
real.
really fresh.
That's a good point, because I remember one of the things that threw me off was like, since when does Homer give such a shit about Halloween?
Yeah.
Besides his pumpkin stock.
Right.
Yeah,
But
but,
now-
I guess you're right. We've never really seen him in a canon episode around
Right.
Halloween.
And not only that, but this episode is also fairly timeless. Like, there's not a lot here that ties it to 2015.
Well, this was probably going to stick around for a while, but there is a gag I really liked when Lisa gets scared in the haunted house and they have to turn all the lights on and they stop the presses so that she can be taken out. All of the performers and the haunted performers take off their mask and check their iPhone. They check their smartphones.
Right, yeah,
which is funny
that's
because
true.
that's probably what happens in real life. Like
I'm sure.
the first thing people will do is
sure
check their
it does.
messages. Yeah. So I
But
like
yeah,
that,
that's
but
what I was
that's-
thinking about this episode. Like, you know, this
That's a
is
good
new
point.
ground for a show, and it's
But
27
it's like they should do this every week. And I was gonna say yes, it's easy to do a holiday episode, especially with a gimmick. It's easier to make that work, and the genre thriller part especially makes that easier. But the character-based stuff, the stuff they were getting right, that could be any episode. That could be any concept. That doesn't have to be a holiday.
Yeah.
So why can't they do this every week? What's going on?
Well,
Why couldn't the Homer episode? We just watched the season premiere this season.
Yeah.
With what's her face?
Well,
Lena
that
Dunham.
had a host of problems.
Like,
but-
why couldn't that have the same kind of character stuff? Why couldn't that Homer be?
I mean, it could have. We talked at length in our episode about that one. But I think in this one, what you're doing is you're hammering a different nail in the, for lack of a better term, the Homer and Lisa
Jesus
nail
Christ.
board. Wow, not,
No.
not Jesus wrist.
Well, I thought that's where you were going.
Nope.
I heard
That's not where
hammer.
I'm
I
going.
heard nail.
All right, Mel Gibson. Or Sideshow
Sideshow
Mel
Mel
Gibson.
who played Agent. No, Detective
No, Detective
Riggs
Riggs
in
in Lethal Weapon 3 and 4 and 2 and 1.
which
Which
was
was
just called Lethal Weapon.
Of course. So yeah, we had Jesus Christ.
Do you guys switch leading each other?
We did.
Where we both pitch and catch.
Come on that week cruise, everybody. We'll be coming on.
Take out your penises and we'll murder you.
That's exactly right. Back
That's
to
our
my
catchphrase.
back to my actual point. Back to my actual point. I think that this episode specifically hits a beat in the Lisa-Homer relationship that we've never seen before, where it's not just that Lisa is a little girl, she's very scared about a specific thing. It's about Halloween, it's about like haunted houses and things that they've never done in an episode before because
Yeah.
they never have had Halloween, so we've never seen
So it
this
felt
kind of
new.
dynamic. Anyway, let's get into our scene-by-scene analysis here. This episode was interesting that it started with there really was no couch gag. There was really no opening. Like, we just
Yeah.
saw the Simpsons through the clouds, and then we're immediately in the front yard
An
where Homer's setting up.
autumnal evergreen terrace.
Yeah,
with
it was
leaves
nice. It
blowing
was-
and stuff. Yeah, and I wonder. I guess they've done enough Halloween theme songs, but I think they've. Yeah, I guess they've done the regular theme song, but Halloweenized for the Treehouse of Horror. So I guess there's
Yeah.
nothing new to do there.
I also just realized that this episode was 3 acts. This one was 3 acts. I wonder if this script, if it had been kind of
older script?
yeah, in the drawer for a while,
Maybe.
you know, just like brought out and dusted off,
Maybe.
because maybe that's why it's so timeless, because it was written.
I
earlier.
wonder if they were thinking not doing a Treehouse of Horror episode and just doing like you're saying that you're experimenting and maybe
Yeah.
to really experiment. This is the Treehouse of Horror episode. Maybe even call it Treehouse of Horror 20 whatever. But I'm assuming they didn't do it because they knew there would be too much backlash.
Yeah,
and like
I mean, that's a tradition.
I mean, and I'm a traditionalist, and
Institution.
I do want a Treehouse of Horror every year. But they're not good anymore, so whatever. Maybe it's time to buck the
Well-
tradition. Maybe that's an experimental season 27 thing to do.
You know, we watched one last week, and it was not a great episode. We ranked it pretty low. But I still do like watching the Treehouse episodes. Like, even when I wasn't really watching The Simpsons, and before we were doing this podcast, I would occasionally watch
Yeah.
the Treehouse episode.
No, because they're easy to digest. They're short.
Yeah, they're just... It's fun to see what they've come up with because it's so out there.
But the balls of just not doing it and doing this decent episode instead, wouldn't you give them credit? Go, you know what? Instead of just
I guess,
churning
but-
out another mediocre Treehouse of Horror.
Do you take away credit from them from doing this and a Treehouse of Horror?
No, but like us doing two back-to-back Halloween podcasts, it seems
It's a
like
little
a little
lazy.
overkill.
It's a little-
It seems like a little overkill.
Yeah, no, maybe that's fair enough. I
It's
can't-
not like they're bad episodes because they're Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Right. They're bad because they're bad, but
Yeah.
So just because this one was watchable doesn't mean the next attempt at this one will be.
well, that's the plan. Yeah, that's
That's
the
true.
hope. Is that season 27 is the comeback season, but the season premiere, the only other one from the season.
I guess
we've
you
seen.
risk the overkill and play both for the time being and see how it goes.
Yeah, I guess you're doubling your odds at a good episode.
Yeah. I would say maybe we should live tweet the Halloween this week, but wrestling is on, so I'm not.
All right. So there's some meta stuff in this episode too. At least there's 2 meta scenes I could at least think of. One was later in the episode where Apu changes his name to Abu.
Right. As a scary nickname.
As a scary nickname, which is what they do in the credits, obviously. Which they didn't do that in this one.
Not in this
right?
one because
it's
I'm
not
assuming
Treehouse
that's
Horror. Yeah. And then in the very beginning of the episode, or near the beginning, Flanders is like, "This isn't typical for you guys. Don't you usually go to the treehouse and tell horror stories?"
Tell 3 horror stories.
Yeah, tell 3. And Homer actually is really meta. Like Homer's just like, "Yeah, we're telling a story about Skinner as a psycho and furniture."
Furniture comes to life and takes over.
And it's pretty much it's really breaking the fourth wall. It's hard to justify in universe because why would they be telling a story about Skinner's and Psycho?
Yeah, right. We had to look it up to see if that was actually what the episode was, which is not. It's not. It's the one where Sideshow Bob kills Bart. So that's was much different. I also like that the name of the it was kind of a haunted house on the lawn of The Simpsons that was called Everscream Terrors.
Yeah,
I like it. I like a good pun. Because they live on Evergreen.
No, it was. I liked it. I thought it was funny. But no, I was about the meta thing. Homer's delivery, Dan Castellaneta's delivery is really funny too. It's like I'm easier when they break the fourth wall or when they're meta than you are. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was so funny. It was so well done. It wasn't it wasn't eye rolling. And I think it was really mostly in the delivery. Homer's delivery was perfect. Just like, and the furniture comes alive. And like his just...
It was he was eye-rolling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Did you like it?
I did actually like it. I did. Because I didn't think the joke was like, you get what we're doing? It was a little bit of like winking humor like that, but it wasn't sold that way. And kind of overall in this episode, Homer was a decent person, which I always love seeing. A competent person. That's a perfect way to put it.
All right, so before we get more into the plot, I wanted to talk about that. So Homer is not jerk-ass, obviously.
There's no jerk-ass at all.
But it's almost all the way...
Except when he gets the guys fired.
But that's the thing. Jerk-ass Homer is when he is being malicious and just knows he's doing wrong. He didn't actually realize... I was like, why is he getting... He just told these guys, and then when you realize he got them fired... He didn't. They said don't tell old man Squishy.
Because what they do is they say, if you pay us cash, we'll give you one of these dancing skeletons and we'll put 3 more in your car, not realizing that they're stealing from Apu.
Right.
And they say just don't tell old man Squishy in reference to Apu.
And then Homer goes right to Apu and
says,
tells
hey, your workers are so good, but don't tell old man Squishy because he has no idea that Apu is who they're talking about.
So he's actually still being a decent guy, whereas jerk-ass Homer, I wouldn't be surprised if he had done this, where he literally just goes and tells him, by the way, they're stealing from you.
And that worked so much better. I actually laughed at his over-explaining angry whisper.
It wasn't
because it wasn't overly explaining, and it wasn't angry.
Yeah,
it was just a whisper. But
it worked in context. But here's the point I wanted to make. So Homer was so genuinely decent and so normal. In like the first scene, he's setting up the Halloween decorations, and he just seems like a normal dad. It was more jarring to me than if he was a jerk-ass Homer. Like, he was more normal and low-key than even in the classic episodes. Like, I'm wondering if either
I don't know if that's true.
The show is so broken. Homer hasn't been himself or been a decent character in 15 years and so long that seeing it, I didn't recognize. I was just like, this isn't Homer. I was like, I missed the jerk-ass Homer, and I didn't miss him because I don't want but like I was just like, this isn't the Homer.
It felt weird now because we've watched so many recent episodes.
Just used to jerk-ass Homer. I was just like, what? Why? Who is this guy? It was like he was hypnotized by like a cult or something. It was weird. I would say he was even more normal and restrained than in the classic seasons.
In some episodes, I'll give you that.
Like it's just the way he reacted to everything. He wasn't very silly.
Yeah.
I almost don't know if I'd take this over Jerk-ass Homer, but I almost think it was too far from Jerk-ass Homer.
Well, I don't know about that.
I feel like it was too much to the other end of the spectrum. I don't know. It seemed like he was hypnotized. It didn't seem like Homer. Even Marge was. Maybe I'm just not used to seeing good writing, but even Marge seemed like very adult and normal. When like in that first scene when they're talking about when they're setting up the house and stuff, I don't know, it seemed too normal.
There was one thing for Marge that I loved. Like I said before, this episode really worked for me because of the little things. There's a scene where Marge grabs Santa's little helper's face and is like, everyone has to pitch in, who wants to be a little doggy Yoda? And then at the end of the episode, when everything's like resolved, Santa's little helper was dressed as Yoda. It just all tied together.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I was expecting them to cut to like a POV shot of the dog, like the dog doesn't want to do this. The dog doesn't miserable, but they just kind of kept a shot of the dog's exterior and just hope the audience was smart enough to get what was like the dog was kind of like just a dumb dog. It was very realistic.
It was all very good.
Grounded, almost too much so. I feel like it could have been a little bit sillier. In general.
So you think the episode overall could have been sillier?
A little bit, just a little bit. And I know that's silly because for 55 episodes, I'm saying, they need to get.
Like I really think this episode is what we've said every other episode should be.
But I think it could have been a little out. Like they lost a little. They cut too much of the stuff around the tumor out. You know.
Well, I think that's because they did. That's good. I only just realized what you said. But I think that a lot of that is because instead of silliness, they put in like horror elements and thriller elements. I guess not really horror.
That's a good point.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to. I'm nitpicking because we have an hour plus to talk about this episode. But obviously, I would take this over a bad episode. I'm just saying. I thought it skewed a little too much. Just a little.
Just a little. Okay. Fair enough.
And then again, so Homer and Marge, very realistic. And like we said, Bart and Lisa, they were kids. Lisa was so excited about the haunted house. Bart was excited about trick-or-treating. Bart was also like the cool older brother. It's like, the Gores had to get more realistic. He's just like too cool for school.
Yeah.
It was just all very grounded. It was great. So, so they go to this haunted house. Like we basically already explained, Homer gets these 3 guys fired because they're just, they go to town and try to work holidays. They're part-time
pop-up
drifters.
shop employees.
Yeah. And Homer gets them fired for stealing stuff behind Apu's back, and they vow revenge. And Homer's like, I'm sorry. They're like, you'll be sorry. And Homer's like, I already am sorry.
Yeah. I like that too.
Again, that's where he seems competent. He knows what he's saying, and the people around
dumb,
him
but he's
are
still a good
ridiculous.
guy. Yeah.
Like I have it's so hard to believe that season 27 Homer would be like, I am sorry for getting you fired. Like he should be like, well, you deserved it. And
like they don't need to write jerk ass
episode.
Homer into a script. They can have that Homer be in. You can plug that Homer in any script. You might actually have to rewrite the story a little bit to make it better, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, it was great. I really liked him apologizing.
Why couldn't that Homer be?
I really like Homer being a decent human being.
Why couldn't that Homer be in the Bonfire of the Manatees episode or something? Come on.
That one was almost unforgivable. But anyway.
So they go to this haunted house.
Krusty Land's Halloween Horror Night.
Yeah.
A parody of Universal Studios does like Halloween Horror Nights. And like Six Flags, great.
Okay,
Six
so
Flags
it's basically
does,
it's like a ukulele amusement
rendition.
park,
Yeah.
and it's just Halloweenized.
Basically, I absolutely loved this whole sequence.
It was great.
It's not bad.
The animation in this episode was probably the best animation I've ever seen on the show.
So Lisa's scared, and she's seeing all the different performers, the zombies and stuff. My favorite was while Homer's trying to convince her not to be scared because the tickets are expensive. Is it a Cthulhu?
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu?
Cthulhu, the Lovecraftian monster Cthulhu, is
Cthulhu.
walking behind Homer.
But he just
no attention drawn to it.
No, he just slowly just walks by.
Right, it's just there to terrify Lisa and for the viewers to notice.
Yeah.
Homer, it's not a joke. It doesn't pay off in any way.
To it. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. It was so much funnier by not calling attention to it, by just having it walk by in the background, because it's just this silly looking thing walking by. And then on top of that, to tie it into Lisa's emotion. Oh, it's great.
It was great. And I really just want to hit on the production of this episode, because I know we're going to get to our hippo scale later, but we're under a time limit there. And I really want to just gush about how much I loved how this episode looked. Not just this scene was terrific. Like all of the character designs for these horrible zombies and the monsters, and Lisa's trying to find an adult when she's panicking.
That sequence is great. I mean, I see each one coming. Actually, I don't think I saw the guard one coming. I saw the baby coming.
She goes to a woman with a stroller, and this like devil baby pops out, which was kind of scary. Like the design was great.
You peed your pants.
I peed my pants. And then she goes to a guard. It was a chest burster pop out.
I love that.
That was great.
The whole sequence was great. But then even later in the episode, there's a musical number. We'll talk about it later. But everyone in town is in an elaborate costume, and it
paid a lot of attention.
Fantastic. Like everybody has a good costume.
Everybody had a great costume. We probably missed a bunch, but they did some they did nice references, and great pop culture references. Martin was
Bender.
Martin was Bender.
Yeah. Ralph was I don't know who Ralph was.
Who was Stay Puft?
Ralph was Stay Puffed earlier.
I thought
when
Martin
they go to
was
school.
Stay Puft.
I thought it was Ralph.
All right. So anyway,
that was at school, though.
So you get your pop culture, your fairly big mainstream pop culture references.
Yeah.
But still weird to see in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And then you had some more obscure ones too. That was great.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything else on top of it.
We'll talk about that when we talk about the musical number. But even beyond that, when the guys are in the house, the way that it's framed and the animation is
lit.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm giving this episode a 5 in production.
No.
I'm saying it now. This episode, I don't know what a 5 looks like to you, Jack, but this was the best looking
like a
Simpsons
straight
episode.
line, and then another straight line down, and then like a belly.
I have been drawing my 5s all wrong.
But frankly, they look like 8s.
I've been doing them as letter V's. I thought that's how we did it. Is this not ancient Rome?
It is not. For the last time, that was 3,000 years ago. 2,000. Well,
But
Having recently seen it, I think this episode looked better than the movie did.
maybe I'll go 5.
We'll get there. I'm going
yeah,
ahead of ourselves. I
yeah.
just really wanted to like unpack how good this episode
Right.
looked.
Well, we watched a movie on a shitty DVD. This is HD.
Well, but the movie was in HD. I saw it in theaters.
Was it HD though?
You can get it on Blu-ray.
That doesn't make it HD. You can get Jaws on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's in HD though. They remaster it.
Fine.
I'm saying The Simpsons has never looked better than this
Okay.
episode.
I might give it a 5. I don't know. I hope.
I'm putting my cards on the table now. You guys
Well-
don't have to.
also, a lot of it was realistic and easy to accept.
Yeah.
There was nothing too. That's
Well,
can
you
only
do,
happen
you,
in
you do have
Springfield.
the costumes, the zombies, and
Yeah, it's everything. It was the zombies, the costumes. Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic.
No, anthropomorphic.
I didn't say it right. I
You
thought I had it.
I said it the way you always say it.
Oh, anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic, yeah.
Did I just say it right?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm getting it. I'm just.
Well, the podcast can end now.
Anthropomorphic. Thanks, guys.
Got all this.
That was the point
That
of
was
all
the
this.
whole.
We're
We just trying to
get me
train Jack to
pronounced.
say anthropomorphic.
Still
right.
can't say anachronistic. Oh my
You
god.
just.
I
Oh my
what's
god.
going on here?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Um,
And that erases everything. And back to the show.
so the one thing, Jeff, anything else to add about the animation before we move on?
No, I think Dan was right. I agree with Dan.
Jeff
Thank you.
agrees.
Ah, that's a first time for everything.
Little Jeff likes his dad. So
Wait, also, I didn't point it out. There was like Inside Out, Itchy and Scratchy, or like Flayed Skin, Itchy and Scratchy, also in the background.
it
I thought that was great.
was
That
it
was great.
Flayed Skin? I was
Yeah.
thinking for a second it was Inside Out from the
Yeah,
Treehouse of
like
Horror.
the gas that turns inside out. Whatever it was. They looked, you saw their
And
muscles.
yeah, and you're right. I was waiting for that to pay off, and it was just a nice
Yeah.
background
There's
detail.
another
love it.
Cthulhu.
Here's another
Another
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. That might be the name of the episode.
Uh-huh.
Just another Cthulhu.
Unlike another stakeout. That's
I like
a
that
different
movie.
podcast.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
The ice cream scene is great with Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Makes another podcast.
Another podcast. So Lisa freaks out and she's, panics. She turns into a ball, crumbling up on the floor.
It
crumpling
was
up on
almost
the
hard
floor.
to watch because
It was a little
so
hard to watch.
vulnerable and so.
It's a very
so
emotional
traumatized.
episode.
It was the first time I actually saw Lisa as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I openly wept. I won't be ashamed
You
of
peed
it.
your pants again.
I
which-
had liquid coming out of
don't
every
know,
orifice.
You should. If you're that scared, fine. But if
Why
something,
do you think I wear these rubber pants everywhere, Jack?
Just thought it was the style.
This is
at
just
the
a
time.
problem. Well, it is. I'm very stylish.
You're always wearing a toga. Lately,
That's because here in the People's Republic of Rome,
they speak with the British accent.
yes, they do.
One more thing before we move out of the sequence. Actually, I would say out of the entire episode, it was the one moment, or at least the one moment I can think of, that rang false. And that was
Really?
jerk-ass guard, the head of security, where I thought, I don't know, it was a little unrealistic how he was embarrassing Lisa and just like, we've got a crybaby.
Yeah.
Hey,
She
everybody,
was
this crybaby
catatonic
ruined
and couldn't-
everything. And you couldn't just go and get. I know it's a TV show. I know it's a cartoon. But you couldn't just go send in some guards and escort her out safely. You had to turn the whole thing up. And even if I swallowed that, there's the fact that he's like, look at this baby ruining everything. It's like, come on.
What about this? So what happens in the episode is the guard is watching them on a closed circuit television system, and then he has to hit a crybaby button.
Mm-hmm.
What if Lisa had to hit the crybaby button? There's a button in the haunted house
She has,
that you have
she
to
has
hit
to
if you want to
willingly ruin
leave.
it for everybody.
Right, it turns on all the
And
lights.
they even
it
say at
stops
the top
everything.
of this tour, if you need to do this, but just be aware you're going to ruin it for everybody.
Because
And
then
Bart makes fun of somebody. He's like, last year Wendell hit that button, and
Yeah, exactly. And he's been a pariah ever
Right,
since.
yeah.
And
That's
no
so
one
much
even
better.
remembers
That's
Wendell.
so much better.
By the way, since Wendell came up organically, we had a listener who wrote in a while ago and said that his headcanon is, because
Wendell
Wendell's
died
never
of
around,
cancer.
is that Wendell died of leukemia because this listener was a
it's
leukemia
perfect. It's
survivor.
great headcanon.
So-
Whoever submitted that,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm sorry. I knew this would happen. I even told you, I think, that I will not remember your name, but when we talk about Wendell, I would bring it up on the show.
You don't even remember this guy's name. Okay, so So now Lisa's traumatized by this. Everything she sees that's Halloween related is freaking her out.
Yeah, she refuses to wear even her non-scary Halloween
Frida Kahlo costume, which is perfect. That's very Lisa.
Perfect.
My favorite, there's a bunch of she's seeing Halloween things turn evil. My favorite was she sees a Happy Halloween sign that turns to Unhappy Halloween.
Yes.
That's like a very classic Simpsons show.
That was really, really funny, yeah. I also like, so we see she goes to school, whatever it is, people are going to school in costume, and Lisa refuses to wear hers. And Skinner stops
It
Bart
must have been Halloween.
and kind of takes away everything that's scary from Bart's costume.
Right.
It's a really subtle B-plot that Bart's involved in, where Bart, like, loves Halloween, but,
I didn't even realize. I was just seeing that as a one-off gag. I didn't realize it is technically tied into his...
Yeah, like, Halloween's kind of being taken away from Bart.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's subtle, yeah.
I just thought that it was a funny idea.
Do what I can, guys.
It wasn't particularly laugh out loud funny.
It was a cute little moment that I thought thematically at least tied into the Bart
Perhaps
thing.
that's why I ignored it.
So
Perhaps it is.
so Lisa's traumatized, and they realize, all right, Halloween's freaking her out, and we're gonna have to take down the decorations. And I thought this was gonna be the main conflict of the episode, where Homer has to decide. This is a great conflict because it's not jerk-ass Homer. It's Homer really loves Halloween, although. Again, I guess, like you said, we haven't seen this time of year before on Canon Simpsons, but again, I was a little like, since when did Homer like Halloween so much?
That's true. But
anyway,
I thought it was going to be a lot like the season 2 episode where Homer has the illegal cable, and he kind of has to choose Lisa's love.
When has he ever given anything up for his kids?
Yeah. He gave up cable.
He gave up cable.
But it was a fight, and that's what the episode was about.
Right, that was the crux of the episode.
And I thought
Cable
that's where they were going with
broken.
this.
Right.
And I was kind of surprised, and I like that Homer was just like, I don't want to do this. I hate doing this. But of course,
but
it's
this
not
is for
even,
my daughter.
It's
Of
not.
course I'm going
He
to
doesn't
do
even
this.
give it a second thought. He's like,
Yeah.
all right. Well, he gives it a second thought. But he's pretty much.
There's really no struggle
There's
for
not
Homer
much
to
of a
take down
conflict.
Halloween.
He doesn't like it. That's almost even more interesting to watch. Yes, better conflict in drama is if he was really
But it's
torn.
foreign
But wait, what?
It's foreign? How so?
that Homer would do that. Without
That's
the
what I'm saying.
fight.
It doesn't
I'm
feel
agreeing
like
with you.
it
I'm
doesn't.
just...
That's
I
what
see
I'm
what you're
saying.
saying.
Almost
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
too much. It's too unjerk ass because I was just.
But are you just saying that because
It's
we've
more
seen
Tim Taylor.
so many terrible episodes?
I guess this part is more Tim Taylor. No, this is that. Yeah, I do think this fits the Homer of yore.
Right.
No, definitely Lisa's pony Homer. No, I loved it. I loved it, and I love that. I really love that it wasn't much of a choice. He just like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was great.
Loved it.
Here's another great. The writing is so good in this episode. So, like I said, we had never seen Homer's Halloween nut before. It's kind of surprising. But
we've
they
never seen
establish it
Halloween.
in this episode. It doesn't matter. Simpsons is not a serial show.
Right, but
It
it's
just
established.
matters
It's the
in
first
this
moment.
episode.
Yeah, first
So
moment of the episode.
They establish it early. They go, all right, listen, guys. Homer really likes this thing. This is a believable, grounded thing. Homer likes Halloween, and now later on, now you feel when he takes the decorations down,
hurts.
when they become they even set up how they don't like skippers, people who turn the lights
Halloween
off.
skippers,
Yeah, they turn the lights off so that trick-or-treaters don't come. When Homer has to do that and he turns the lights off on the house, it's
a moment.
heart-wrenching because it's and that wouldn't have been heart-wrenching an hour ago for me because I didn't know Homer gave a shit.
Right.
So the show is setting up the rules for this episode and then follows them. That's something we've been begging the show to do for 50-something episodes.
And the way they do it, it was never like, I don't remember Homer being like, I love Halloween,
Right,
it's
exactly.
the most important thing to me.
Right.
Instead, we see him lovingly craft this
Right.
Halloween display on the house and just being like,
which
Halloween.
is why I was like shocked. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's
Homer
done- it's
ever
done
being
well.
like this.
It also leads into the B-plot with Bart, as he drives up
perfectly.
right into the empty house
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yep.
have the
He already had his
thinks that
Halloween
there's
taken away at
a
school.
bars anymore.
And now he's getting it at home. Yep.
It was all, and it's heartbreaking because it's conflict where that's really sucks for Bart, but it's not
To
like
me, that was
you
more
don't get-
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
to watch
and-
Bart drive up to that.
Yeah, because Homer's an adult, and he's
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like
You have to live with
it. Was
something.
really, and what's great about it is it sucks for Bart, but it's not like you're yelling at the screen. Like if me and Jeff watch a lot of TV together. We used to watch early seasons of Walking Dead. And it was just so infuriating. We're just yelling at the screen because characters are doing stupid things that they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And Jeff especially,
But even stupid people would.
when the two of us are together, that's like, we can't stand watching characters do things that they're not supposed to do. It just ruins shows for us. Anyway, my point is, you can't. There's no yelling at the screen with this plot. You can't be like, oh, just fix this so Bart can have his Halloween. There is no fix. It's you have to take the decorations down.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably not take him down if I was Homer. I'd probably be like, fucking grow up. It was a
I mean, I wouldn't because kids are terrible and I like causing misery and pain. But
others, well, if he's your kid, but if it was my kid,
if it was your kid, I would put up an even bigger Halloween on my side of the street and put like a corpse of Lisa hanging from a tree.
No, yeah, I thought that was great. That this conflict, you can't yell at the screen saying, "Oh, why are they writing themselves into this hole?"
Yeah, no,
it's not. The hole is natural.
Perfect sense.
Yeah,
natural hole. Also a good title for the episode.
This is the title of something.
Yeah, it is.
You're gonna be real sorry for getting us fired.
I'm sorry now.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
I said I'm sorry now.
We said you're gonna be.
I know when I'm sorry, and I'm sorry now. You guys don't know me at all.
So then they introduced Tally, and like I just said with Homer, they set up early in the episode Homer's love of Halloween, so that it makes sense. Now they introduced Tally, which is Lisa's blankie. It's a raccoon.
I'm curious to know how this worked for
tail.
you guys.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And
What did you think of this, Jeff?
A little forced.
It was a little bit forced. I liked how it was done, where they just mentioned Tally.
The first thing, you don't know what it is.
And we don't know what it is.
They go, Lisa's really scared. What if she brings out Tally? And then they immediately go look for Tally, which is a book of memories.
Yeah, I like that it was the memory box, I think it was, and then the scrapbook with a page that says Tally, and it clearly has been ripped out. I thought it was a good reveal, but it's a little...
Who would glue that into a book? And
Well, no,
getting a little
people
ridiculous,
would
but yes.
glue it into a book, I think. But it felt like...
my mom had some of my teeth on books, so... No, so you don't know who Tally is. You can kind of get that it's something from Lisa's past, and then by seeing the pictures, you go, oh, it's her safety blanket as a young baby, and then they cut to the last page, and it's gone, and it says Tally, and there's like glue marks or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought it was very smart storytelling, and
I did too, especially what happens at the end with Tally.
Yeah.
But it is just a little jarring
because it's out of nowhere?
Season 27 and we're out of nowhere introducing
But that's
this
why I'm saying
It's also Lisa.
it's just as out of nowhere as Homer's love for Halloween, but they set up the rules in the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's seeded in, and it technically doesn't contradict anything we've ever seen, because we've only seen 2 or 3 episodes with Lisa at that age.
Yeah, overall I liked it. I'm just saying that it did feel a little strange, like,
But
I know Lisa pretty well
They would never
here.
mention it because they were always afraid of her being attached to it again.
That's true.
So it's from
That's
a
a fair
time we
point.
didn't know Lisa. I thought it was really, really well done. And I thought just like Homer's love of Halloween, they set it up for this episode. They set up for the rules of this episode. It didn't contradict anything from the broader sense of the show.
Here's
and
what I
they
want
paid
them
it
to
off
do.
great.
I want them to George Lucas all the past flashback episodes. Lisa
want a
Sachs,
CGI,
Lisa's first word.
you want a CGI
I want CGI Tally in there.
the back.
I want to
also
see
like a big alien hippo
I
walking
want
in
to see
the
when
background.
Han Solo steps on Jabba the Hutt's tail, and Tally is there for some reason.
I
That's what I'm looking for.
want when Homer wins the big game.
Yeah.
With his getting hit in the head, I want them to cut to Coruscant and just show everybody celebrating the fireworks.
That's what we all want.
No, I love Tally. Oh, so all right. So again, realistic, nice. Everybody's happy and loving and doing the best they can. I love that. So now it sucks for Bart because Halloween is ruined, and I thought this was going to be another standard episode. It's like, no, Bart, this is like Lisa needs our help right now. They were like, no, Marge was great, and she was like trying to make it up. She's like, look, I'll take you trick or treating. You can even make your name a curse
We'll go to
word."
the nice neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, which is exactly if I was a parent, I probably would not take the Halloween decorations down and make my kid get through it. But if I did have to get rid of Halloween for the sake of a kid, that's exactly what you would do for the other kid. You would
should be
give
able
him
to
a little
still be able
extra.
to go.
Yeah. No, I thought that was such a great. The Bart plot was great.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I want to talk about the E.T. thing really briefly.
Yeah, I don't know what is that a thing?
Well, I'm assuming it's a reference to the E.T. ride in Universal Orlando, which is...
I've never been.
It's actually, the ride itself is kind of E.T. too. Where you ride on a little bicycle and you give them your name beforehand, and at the end, E.T. waves goodbye to you and he says your name, so you'd be like, goodbye, Jack, Jeff,
That's
Dan."
heartbreaking.
So I loved in this episode that Marge says, oh, in this other town they're going to have E.T. and he'll say your name, and can I even make my name a curse word? And she's like, sure. And I love. I think it was one of the funniest things in the episode.
You said it was one of the funniest things in years.
It may have been one of the funniest
and
things in years.
I might agree.
They are at the fancy part of town where there's nice trick or treating, and they're not allowed to stop. The angry guard says they can turn around, but they have to leave. And they pass by the booth with E.T., and you just hear him go, "Hello, scrotum."
Yeah. So there's three. Here's at least three reasons why that is great writing and that's a great joke.
Yeah.
Number one. They set it up earlier.
Yep.
Which is great. So it makes it that much funnier than just having this random ET thing.
Like, we remember this thing about the curse word.
Bart wanted to do the curse, and then it comes back, some other kid did it.
Yep.
You know, you're gather a little meth in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. It worked. Two, they chose the perfect word.
Yeah, scrotum was perfect.
That's the perfect one.
Not really a curse word, but it's very funny.
So then say you had like a tour guide, and the tour guide says your name. The tour guide goes, "Hello, scrotum." That's funny.
Yeah.
But three, the ET voice.
It was the ET
It makes
voice.
it that much. It's icing on the cake.
I think it was it Hank Azaria?
I don't know. Have we heard the ET voice before? ET voice usually makes me laugh, but have we heard Simpsons ET voice?
I think we
Well,
have.
we've heard the stand-up comic do Mr. ET.
That's true.
Have we ever?
pity the fool that don't
Because I know
call.
Family Guy has a great ET gag that I always love, where they're like the FBI show up or somebody, or they think it's the FBI, and they go, "Run, ET, run!" and he just runs by with his arms in the air.
I remember that
one. Like, ET's a very funny character.
E.T. is a funny
to push
character.
in because he just the voice and the.
He's weird.
The
He
look.
looks like a pile of turds.
he looks like a shaved penis.
glows.
By the way, my penis is so hairy.
How hairy is it?
It's so
looks
hairy
like
that I
E.T.
actually had to say shaved penis
When you get a boner,
to
you say,
differentiate it from a different penis.
when you get a boner, you're like, "Oh, E.T.'s sticking his neck out."
That's exactly what I say. My girlfriend does not find it very attractive. She's like, "Do you have to say it every time?" And I say yes.
E.T.'s phoning home, baby. That's when you.
Actually, I don't even say
sorry.
it. I say it every time I get an erection. So even like if I'm on the subway and a pretty girl goes by, you know, I just have to go, "ET's coming up." And everybody gives me a weird look, and I just like pretend I'm watching a movie on I'm watching ET on my
Right.
my brand new smartphone.
Or what's even more likely, especially on the New York subway system, everyone will quietly just look away and possibly move away from you. No one will make eye contact. But anyway, I loved Hello Scrotum.
I kind of differ on the whole Bart subplot. I felt it was a little...
Simple?
No, it just wasn't enough. You know, it was out of the episode. How much did it actually take up? I mean, I feel like Lisa was the A plot.
Definitely.
The B plot was mostly, I would feel, the three
You'd
Halloween shop workers.
That's probably true. It's
Yeah,
probably
And then
a
I would say
C-plot
this was
part,
kind of
yeah.
like a C plot, and I felt
Yeah.
that this whole C plot was just to drive that scrotum joke.
Well, it also
I
has the
was
time.
all for
also,
it because of that, but you know,
technically, it brings us to the adult Halloween later on, which then ties into the plot because they're the ones who save Homer and Lisa from.
That's
the,
true. All the plots tie
Alright,
together
fair
pretty
enough.
nicely at
Yeah,
the
it's
end.
like
It's like a
It's like
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah.
So these guys come to warn Homer.
Well, first I like that Homer and Lisa are staying home while Marge takes Bart out, and Lisa's kind of scared. And I thought this was really cute and funny. Homer takes out this puzzle of like two kittens playing with a ribbon, and like they're gonna do that instead of Halloween. They're gonna make a new tradition. I liked. It was just really, really cute animation. And Lisa says,
fine,
a calico and a tabby. I wouldn't want to be that ribbon.
Yeah, it's almost like a Flanders line. It was great.
Yeah, I liked it.
Hey,
Hey, I have two cats. Jeff's making faces at me. I have two cats. I understand how cute it is when they play with ribbon.
no, I'm saying all these things that you're bringing up are more of like, you know, a Friday night sitcom or something like that. Not so much The Simpsons.
Not a Sunday night sitcom.
No, right, correct.
Well, if this episode had aired 2 days earlier, you would have loved
You
it.
say it's too corny.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is. Well, it is. But
Well,
it's
that's
also
why I
that's
like-
the story
that's
we're
what I
telling.
like
It's
about-
homely. It's nice. It's family oriented.
Well,
But
Yardley
it's
Smith's
safe.
Yardley Smith's delivery.
It's safe. Yes.
Yardley Smith.
Well, yeah.
Yardley Smith's delivery, like you could tell Lisa. She does a great job in that you can hear Lisa's a little broken in her voice, and I like that cat
Right.
line because I don't know if maybe normal Lisa would say the same line because she also did be the kitty or be the baby.
Be the baby kitty.
But this was more. She's so broken that she's like just doing these corny
Right.
cat things because that's the only thing that feels safe. to her.
That's what I meant when I said
Yeah.
it felt safe. You're right. It was safe as like a joke.
Like
also.
Lisa is
like,
now
a
so
cat puzzle, of
Lisa's
course,
now so
but,
vulnerable and scared.
yeah.
She probably is only watching TGIF type sitcoms. She can only Family Matters is as edgy as she can get now.
Urkel got me through some dark times, okay?
Oh man, what did I do? I didn't know. I didn't watch the CBS.
It went full on sci-fi at the end.
I didn't realize that Stefan Urkel and Steve Urkel and Stephen Urkel actually became separate characters. Like he cloned himself, and there was multiple Steve incarnations at the same time.
The show just went fucking
It was like
crazy.
multiplicity. Yeah,
It turned into like Doctor Who, basically, with Carl and Steve. Like, Steve, we can't go back and die.
I would watch the shit out of a season 10 Doctor Who where the 12th Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi, great Doctor, dies, is reincarnated as Urkel, and his new companion is Reginald Bell Johnson's Carl.
Wow.
That's $1 million idea right there. Stephen
patent.
Moffat, get on that.
Get on that. See, the 13th Doctor, Steve Urkel, the new companion, what's her face is on the way out, Jenna Coleman.
Adorable.
Get Reginald Bell Johnson. And at one point, the Master is about to kill the Doctor.
Yeah.
And Reginald Bell Johnson pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Twist: the Master is Stefan Urkel. I haven't watched any of the Peter Capaldi.
No, that actually is what happens.
Oh, well, good. I think, oh man, how did I know? No, I haven't watched any. I'm sure he's great, but I just pictured this moment in my head of his regeneration where like he's dying and it's tragic and everyone's crying, and then it turns to Steve Urkel and he just goes, "Got any cheese?"
That's even better than what I was gonna say is as he's regenerating, the TARDIS like crashes into a house or something.
Yeah,
and he
right,
comes
right.
out as the new Doctor, and he just goes, "Did I do it?"
Yeah, right. So this has to happen. We're gonna talk to Stephen Moffat. We're gonna get this going.
Man, they changed the TARDIS to that like weird European Volkswagen thing
Yeah.
he had.
It was like a smart car before smart cars. were a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Well, Urkel was ahead of his time.
Urkel
He
was ahead of
did
his
clone
time.
himself.
That's true.
So let's start. So these killers come to threaten Homer. They ring the
Right.
doorbell,
And it's very creepy, as we were saying.
And there's a
before.
great line that maybe is a little jerk-ass Homer. Maybe it's a little unbelievable that he would say it. But he goes, I don't want to be rude, but you said losers should go suck somewhere else.
Yeah.
I love that.
I thought that
line.
was a great
I mean,
line.
I feel like it's stretching credibility. Why would he say that when he
feels bad that
Right,
they got them
but
fired.
it's such a funny line.
But he also just wants them to leave because they're being horribly
Yeah.
creepy.
No, it's a really funny line. Yeah, so then they start creeping him out. It's a basic genre thriller stuff.
Yeah, they do like the
stare
they
from
do
across the
creepy
street.
nursery rhyme from across the street
Yeah.
under a streetlight, where they literally sing creepy nursery rhyme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that what they were saying? I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it was,
that.
it was.
Creepy
Creepy
nursery. Oh, I didn't
nursery
realize that's what they were
rhyme.
saying. Okay.
Yeah, which is it's a little on the nose, but it worked for me, I think.
But again, about this whole horror plot, I love that the story was kind of superficial to the emotional core that it's about Lisa being too scared, and Homer's valiant efforts to like
Protect her.
he knows now that they're fucking with him, and he's more concerned with her not realizing it.
Yeah.
When really he probably should have called 911.
It's kind of weird he doesn't call 911 right away.
Or just get out of the house.
Yeah.
Or again, I kind
get
of
called down with
I
him?
can't believe I'm saying this. I kind of misjerk us over. It's like, why don't you just get into a fight with him? You're a violent, belligerent asshole.
That's true.
Now's the time.
Yeah, that's the time to fight
just
back.
punch him in the face. It's
Yeah.
it's your daughter. I mean, yes, if you get hurt, then there's nobody to protect her. Oh,
Yeah.
get Flanders. Let Flanders, but like do some-
Flanders is buff.
He's probably not out trick or treating or doing NC-17 Halloween. It's Flanders.
That's true.
It was a little strain in credibility.
good point.
But I was.
But it's to
He
set
was
up this
almost
thriller.
too much of a pansy. I don't know. It was especially Dan Castellaneta's voice act. Again, Yarly Smith did a great job doing the. I've never heard Homer sound so scared. It was almost
Yeah.
it was unnerving when they're in the attic and he's really frightened and like. You've heard him cartoonishly scared. You've never heard him.
He was
like,
also rational.
seriously
trying
scared.
to
Yeah.
talk her out of it, which was strange.
Yeah,
to
and
me.
it was Dan Castellaneta. It was weird hearing that
This
side
is a
of Homer.
thinking man's Homer.
It was weird hearing that side of Homer that I've never in 27 seasons heard before, and
Yeah.
it wasn't. It kind of made sense, so you can't even shit on it. It's just like, whoa, this makes sense, and I've never heard this before.
We can still
I
gotta
think
talk about the musical
we
number.
skipped something, and somebody commented or reddited it to us.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Homer, we were talking a few weeks ago about what texture Homer's pants are after all these years,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah, I
saying
wanted to
they're
bring this up.
jeans, and you were saying they were yoga pants or some
No,
stupid
I thought they were jeans too. What the hell? Yoga pants?
I thought you. Or maybe
We settled on
like
sweatpants
trousers?
after that blue
Right,
pants
right.
commercial, but
Anyway,
no, they wouldn't be sweat.
but now Homer says, "Why are blue jeans blue?"
Yeah,
in this episode,
he
and makes
basically-
reference to his own pants. So
That makes more sense.
They
when
are
you
blue
looked at
jeans.
him and goes, blue jeans.
Oh yeah, Jeff just thought
we have an unspoken bond about blue jeans.
we just love blue jeans
Blue
references.
jeans.
blue jeans.
Sorry you were out of the blue jeans loop, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry about that. Happy birthday while we're at it. We got
No
you
cake,
blue
no ice cream.
jeans.
Happy birthday.
Blue jeans was actually code for in 47 minutes go sneak a birthday cake from the fridge under the guise of getting a glass of water. It's a heavily used code.
Yeah, very, very heavy. So Homer and Lisa are up in the attic. There were a couple of... It was a very tense moment, but I thought there were a couple of funny lines that I just wanted to point out. Homer says to Lisa, he admits how scared he is. He's trying to be brave for her, but he tells her...
Again,
He goes,
Dan Castellaneta's voice acting is crazy.
yeah, he's like, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm really, really scared. And before he prefaces it with, I've lied to you more times than there are stars in the sky. I thought that was
Such
very
a
good.
poetic way of admitting.
Yeah.
Homer
And,
the poet.
But that's never been done.
Actually, it might have.
And,
He's been an artist like several
Oh, yeah,
times.
that's right.
So to get out of the house, they realize like the scuzzballs know that they're in the attic. They're coming up. Homer realizes we have to like draw attention to our house. We need someone from outside to come in and help us. So they use all of the Halloween decorations that he put away in the attic, in addition to all of their other Halloween or all of their other holiday decorations like Festivus. And there was a really, really simple thing that they did. They're like, we have to use all the decorations, including like the 4th of July fireworks. He's going to light them on the roof. He keeps lighting a match and it keeps going out. And it's just this very simple, like old school kind
But
of
it
comedy.
racked up the tense.
It did, yeah. And
it was comedy. It was just like it's the classic. The car won't start.
well, but it was a gag where just Homer lights a match and just goes dough, and then lights another one dough, and it's like I was like they never do this anymore. Where it's just like Homer's trying to do something simple. Dough. He
I
tries.
didn't even see it there. I just saw it as like a means to the oh no, they're coming through the door. We got to do this. We got to do this. It was just like a thriller trope.
little column A, little column B.
Yeah, it was both.
So even better.
They very rarely do that,
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
does double duty like that.
Usually it's just duty.
Zing! Take that. And then something I did not see coming was Homer only has one match left. He's like, if it goes out, we're screwed, but we need to light these things. And Lisa sacrifices Taily.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Brilliant.
it coming. It
Didn't
was
see it
so
coming.
good.
I saw it coming with the last match, but I didn't see it
Yeah.
coming that early. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was great. You know, she lights it on
That was
fire.
great.
She doesn't need it anymore. She needs to get out.
Still kind of needs it, but doesn't. But she's like, this is more important, and then that's almost what gets her over.
Yeah.
Over the fear.
It
Although,
tied
if
back
anything,
together
she should
so
be more
well.
traumatized. It should be like, look, Lisa, there are horrible people out there that will hurt you. Always be scared. That should have been the lesson.
That's the takeaway, yeah.
But no, so it makes sense. They set up Taily, how important it is. It's simple storytelling, but it's
But it's
an
something
episode
that
of
they
Simpsons.
don't do
we
often
don't
now.
need Shakespeare. It just
Yeah.
has to be. Well, that's what Shakespeare really is. That's
We
why Shakespeare's time.
we want
is,
a
because
little
it's
bit
a
of
simple
setups
plot.
and payoffs in a simple plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
To build the jokes on.
keep it consistent.
Yeah, no, it was so well done.
Yeah. So that's kind of the end of the main plot. Let's go back. Let's talk about the musical number. Which,
Why did we skip that?
so if you didn't watch the episode, what happens is Marge is trying to get Bart home, and all of the houses in the neighborhood stop putting out candy, and they're closing their doors because it's 9 o'clock, and after 9 it becomes adult Halloween, which is much different from kids Halloween.
Yeah,
it's
Marge,
all
Marge
sexy
goes, "It's time."
costumes.
Oh no, it's too late. It's the change.
Right, it's time of the
And
change.
the moon, like the
I
clouds.
did like that line.
I think it's a great idea.
That was good
Like,
delivery.
it's fun
Yeah.
because there is a big difference between Halloween as a kid and Halloween as
Yeah,
a
I
grown
never
up.
really thought about it until they said it out loud too.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course.
It's there, and the way that they kind of hammer home how different it is a musical number, a parody of the Time
there's no
Warp
other
from
way
Rocky
to do
Horror
that.
Picture. It was not the best. It was probably the
It
weakest
was
part of the
not
episode.
the best,
It
but
wasn't the worst musical they've had.
It was not the worst
especially
musical
the ones
they've
we've
had.
covered on the show. It was tolerable. For one thing, Time Warp, super catchy song.
Yeah, it is.
So catchy.
It's in my
So
head
that
now.
helped.
The original.
But
the
Time
lyric-
Warp is in your head, not
Time
this
Warp's
song.
in my
Yeah,
head,
that-
not this
yeah,
song.
but
I don't
the-
remember any of the lyrics from
No.
this song.
The lyrics weren't great.
They were forced.
Some of them weren't bad. I think it came down to performance, and unfortunately, Dan Castellaneta again not really his thing. The Krusty, I remember being the most grating. Krusty singing. Mo and Barney were okay.
That's Krusty.
Well,
Yeah, that's
Barney's
Krusty.
Dan Castellaneta. But it wasn't the voice. It was the performance. Was just kind of it just highlighted how the song was kind of crappy.
I mean, that must be a thing of the crusty voice, because Dan Castellaneta is actually a pretty good singer, like on
But
his own.
think about when he sings as Homer and stuff. It's just always.
But Homer's
performance-
voice is not a pleasant voice.
It's not the voice. It's the performance. It just comes off as like.
Yes.
Just the it's just eye rolling. Yeah. And now it's time. When they're singing stupid lyrics.
Now it's time. Oh,
when
sorry,
it's
I'm behind.
when they're just singing stupid lyrics, it's like, well, you must grab a spoon to eat soup. I don't know. But when they do stupid lyrics like that,
yeah, the soup eating spoon.
and just when it's Dan, especially when it's Homer doing it, that's not true because Bart, Lisa, it's just usually grating.
Yeah.
But the crusty part was especially grating.
I'll say this about the musical number, though. I think it was a funny idea, this change from Kids Halloween to Adult Halloween. I liked that. I already talked about how visually I really liked it. I liked a lot of the costumes and just how, like, everyone in town is there. They're all in an actual costume. It was never, like...
A good costume.
If anything, the musical
all
was a nice
well-designed.
time to try to catch as many costumes as you can.
Yeah. So, like, you didn't really need to listen to the lyrics. You could just be like, oh, it's Time Warp, which is a catchy song. And even I hate Rocky Horror, and I like the Time Warp song.
Rocky Horror is so good.
It's no good. But...
You are not doing the
It is
Rocky
a
Horror
horror
podcast
film.
with me.
Yeah. Potty horror musical? No, that's not
You're definitely not doing it.
Me and my potty humor. No, cut that. That's poop.
Yeah, and what's great about Bart's plot in this musical, though, is it sets up this cast of NC-17 characters who are the ones that come in at the end of the A plot and save Lisa and Homer.
Yes.
So that's great. It all ties in. So then it ends with a Kang and Kodos reference, which again is
Yes.
meta because they're in every single Treehouse of Horror. So it's kind of great that they didn't have to be in this. It wouldn't have been a tradition.
But like a good meta joke, it's
not
meta
really
to the
them.
viewer, but in the universe, it's not a meta joke because it's not Kang and Kodos, it's Carl and Lenny. And Carl even says, like, that's a great alien voice because it was actually,
It's
Harry
Harry
Shearer doing
Shearer
Kang's voice.
and then he
launches into Lenny's voice. He's like, oh, shoot, I forgot how to do it.
Yeah, he lost it, which as I could relate to that as somebody who cannot remember how to do Groovig.
Yeah.
So
Like up the butt, like doing grooving.
I don't know where to put I forgot where his natural hole was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the voice of the Dalek is, but he's starting to sound like Adam Sandler as an old woman. No, I'm not. I don't even...
That's that.
Nope, I cut that. I don't know what that was.
So we can relate to the voice being
We can relate to that,
to
yes.
the voice being lost. It's hard to hold on to a voice if you're not a professional.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the end of the episode. There's one more scene during the credits, actually, where Maggie picks up the burnt Taily on the ground. I don't know why Maggie's alone outside in the middle of the night, but that's
But it
neither
kind of
here nor there.
rejuvenates.
Yeah, it
into a fresh
regenerates.
Taily.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I thought maybe it just
When she touches it.
not that burnt.
She
Oh,
picks
I
it
didn't
up and
realize-
it like fully
that's
reforms.
creepy.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
And then the actual Halloween theme music starts to play. Maggie like slow turns to look at the camera, and we just
And they
zoom
just
into her
slowly
eyes.
But
stare
she
at her.
like stops and she's still off camera, which I thought was more off-putting. Like,
Yeah,
she's
instead
not
of
dead
being-
center.
And I
Yeah,
thought
you're
the
right.
joke was they were like dramatically showing like, uh-oh, now she's gonna have a Taily addiction, which in itself is annoying
not
to Homer
creepy
and
at all,
Marge, but
no.
it's not creepy. So I thult it was
Right.
funny that they made it creepy. Now that you have the
Well, but the fact that
supernatural
it's a
element,
supernatural
maybe it's
element,
evil.
yeah, that's what I got out of it.
I
It
mean,
was-
but the direction was great because it really did just kind of hold on Maggie and slowly zoom in.
Yeah.
But having the Halloween music, it really helps. Like that did most of the work. That's
Yeah.
which
I mean,
I'm
that's-
not gonna
that's creepy
fault them.
music. John
It's
Carpenter does
such
good
an
stuff.
amazing theme song. It's
Yeah.
so good.
E.T.
Hello, Scrotum.
Okay, so that was Halloween of Horrors, and now it is time to rank it on our Hippo
Yeah,
scale.
you're gonna have to explain the scale
to Jeff, who
because
does
he
never
doesn't
listen to the show.
fucking
He's
podcast.
been on it a couple of times, but now he's...
Even when he's driving us during the Traffic Jam podcast, he doesn't seem like he's paying attention that much. He's more like he's like paying attention to the road.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
what
We
do
were
you
talking about Marvel movies, and you're like, I have to drive a car.
Why do you have to say that while you're driving the car?
You always narrate what you're doing.
I don't want to be on this podcast right now.
Classic Jeff.
We lost him at Happy Birthday.
It really did.
Okay, so our Hippo
He
scale...
was so ready to have a good time.
We're gonna rank
Bush's
this...
birthday.
We're going to rank this episode on our Hippo scale. We're looking at the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality of the episode. We're going to score it on a 0 to 5 scale. Jack, put 2 minutes on the clock.
Beep boop boop beep boop 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 beep boop boop beep boop boop beep.
Extra creepy this week. I love it. And the humor of this episode, 0 to 5. 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. What do you think, Jeff?
2.
Interesting. Jack, what are you thinking?
I don't know if
2's low. 2's pretty low.
I'm wondering if 3 is...
Humor was not this episode's strong suit, though.
That was my point.
It's funny that
that's why
almost
I
all
called
of
it
the
watchable.
good...
But you put it as below average at 2. 2.5 would be average. Interesting.
I don't think there were many jokes. There were funny occurrences.
Jeff Wolyniec is of the Rob Mulhall school of ranking.
He hates us? Is that what you're saying?
We go too easy on it. It's funny how any of the good quote-unquote episodes in terms of story and writing and emotion never seem to be very funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's
3
a good
is
point.
too high or too low. I feel like I was going to say 2.5, maybe 3, because there are jokes I like. I mean, the E.T. scrotum might be the funniest joke we've covered on this podcast.
That's worth a point in itself. But
all right, you know what? For E.T. scrotum, I will feel more confident sticking with 3 as opposed to 2.5.
I think I'm with you on 3. I think that's where I'm going to land.
I can go to 2.5. I didn't know we were doing...
we got halves, man.
We're doing halves.
We're doing halves.
Your numbers
do
don't.
quarter?
Your numbers don't.
Great, thank
Your numbers
you.
don't matter.
If anything, it's a tiebreaker.
All this on my birthday, especially.
Yeah. The integrity of the episode, Jeff.
Interesting.
Now the integrity is kind of like, do the characters feel like themselves? So tie together pretty well.
Are they off model?
Yeah.
What's funny?
All right, we'll ask
I would
Jack.
have to be.
What do you think?
I'm right in the middle now. I was high until you really talked about it. How do you feel about the characters? I would say I would have to go down to a 3 now.
Really?
That's still good,
Because
though.
I thought the episode on the
average.
whole was, but the characters weren't.
What's funny is,
Okay.
usually by integrity we mean is this character not a jerk ass?
Yeah.
What's funny is, it's like I was saying, he was almost too far to the left where he wasn't a jerk ass, that it almost is off model again. It almost overshot the mark. So
Right.
I don't know if I should take points
That's
off or
where
if I should go, holy shit, this is a 5. They finally were acting the way I want them to act. I'm still going to go high, but I almost wonder if I should take off a half point for going too far up. But then I feel like I'm just being such an asshole.
Well, a half point meaning you'd be where at 3.5 or 4?
I was trying to see if this was earned a 5. I mean, everybody is doing the right thing and being the right character.
That doesn't mean there's some,
So should I say 5 minus 0.5 and go 4.5, or should I say 4.5 minus 0.5 and go 4? 4 almost feels too low.
Maybe if I tell you where I'm
Tell
at.
me where you are.
I think I'm at 4 or 4.5.
That doesn't help.
you at all. No, I think I'm going to go 4.5 because this was this episode had all of the structural things that we always say that we want.
It had what we asked for, yeah. 4.5.
All right.
I mean, I don't feel any of the characters were their normal selves. I mean, Bart was too, withdrawn.
I don't think that's true. I think
That's
Bart was a 10-year-old boy.
That's a good
what
point,
did he
though.
do to save his Halloween?
That's a
How
good
was he
point.
the
Jeff-
vigilante of,
Jeff raises a good point. He was
Just because Bart doesn't have agency in his story.
But he wasn't Bart Simpson.
These
He
were all
wasn't
realistic characters.
He wasn't
These weren't the
Caramba.
Simpsons.
That's
This like I said, this is the first time I saw Lisa as an 8-year-old. She wasn't her normal brainy.
Which you're right. We say we wanted to see her as an 8-year-old girl, but she was. You're right. It wasn't. She lost a little of her Lisa-ness by going.
By becoming
I
so
mean,
weak.
when
still
you
be
have
an 8-year-old girl
Homer
and
and
be
Lisa
Lisa.
sitting in an attic, and Homer is the rational one, you're gonna tell me that's
That's a
this
good
is
point. Now I'm
integrity?
thinking maybe I should take a full point off for.
Guys, I think we need to put extra time on the clock, by the way. I think it is a good point, but I also think the story we're telling here isn't the usual story. This is an episode where Lisa was specifically embarrassed and brought very, very
Lisa
low.
doesn't bother me as much
So
as
she's not going to be as strong as she normally is.
Bart was
That's the
lacking a
point.
little Bartness.
Bart was lacking a little Bartness. You're right. He doesn't do anything mischievous. He's just kind of reacting to everything that's happening, and Bart is usually
He's
like
watching
a
his
doer.
Halloween world collapse
And
around him,
Homer,
and
I
he does
now I'm
nothing.
thinking maybe going to 4. Oh.
I don't know. I'm going to keep it 4.5, but I could see myself going down to 4.
Actually, I'm going to give it a 4. I may go back to 4.5.
Okay, that's fair. Production values of the episode. I already said I'm going to give it a 5, so I'm going to give it a 5. But you two, what are you thinking?
I think they could do better. Like, I don't know. The costumes
No.
were fine.
I don't think they can do better.
I agree with the 5.
I think this even not even just the costumes. The
That
costumes
funhouse
was great.
was amazing.
The horror park was fantastic. Everything about it was
Voice acting,
great.
I thought was so on point, and
Yeah.
that's part of production.
And the direction of the specifically the scenes in the house, they were genuinely
Some of the
upsetting and thrilling.
Point of view scenes were pretty good. You
Yeah.
know,
I don't
it
know. I
was a
feel
little-
like there's got to
Like-
be more. There's got to be something super spectacular. Like, what if, like you were saying, it's better than the movie? What if you had something movie quality, but that was good? Like that really
This
nailed
was
it.
good.
But I'm saying, like, what if there was something more epic and really, like, you pushing
What's going to be
animation?
more epic than all these monsters? You had Cthulhu walk in the background here.
I mean, maybe you're expanding the animation form somewhat. I don't know. Maybe they do a more experimental episode animation.
But I felt that they did, especially with the direction in the scenes where the scuzzballs are in the house.
It's just I'm
like they're turning around and like there's things written on the wall and it's shaded very dark.
5 is giving it an A+. I don't know.
I think this episode deserves it.
It's hard for me to give it a perfect score. I don't know. I think I think I have to go 4.5. I might go 5. You're right. I'm not arguing against you. Is there room for improvement?
You're the
It
kind
can
of
be
guy.
better.
You're the kind of guy who gets like the mega elixir in a Final Fantasy game, and you never use it because you're like, I might need it. I might need it.
Exactly.
I might need
that's
it.
100% accurate.
Nope. Use it.
And
when
then
you
the
need
game
it.
ends, and I've got all
And you
these
have all these
ammo
mega
and weapons that
elixirs.
I worked my ass off for.
Right.
and
You
just
didn't even
sitting there.
use them.
And I stand by that.
I'm using the 5.
I'm right there with you.
This 5 is our first 5 that we've ever given on this
It's
scale.
your
by the way.
first 5 in McGee over here. You don't even know what a 5 looks like.
It looks
You
like a
put an
V.
A. I'm looking at the rankings. You put a V.
That's accurate in some cultures.
In one culture.
So we put a lot of time on the clock this week because we knew we were going to get into some trouble here. Finally, the originality of the episode. I'm looking at Jeff. What do you got? This is kind of
It's gotta be up there because, like you guys said, the first time they actually
Did a Halloween.
It's
Halloween
the first
episode.
Halloween
quote
episode,
unquote.
really.
It's quote unquote original.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little parody with the scuzzballs as you put it in the house.
Yeah, that's
things like
it's very.
that.
We
very
also
reminiscent
it's
of the
not just
Strangers or the
original. We
Purge.
also
Part
factor
losing.
in structure and how they executed the story. If this is your plot, now how are you going to tell the story? And
Right.
they did a great job
Okay.
with that, tying the plots in.
They did. The one ding that I can think of right away is, and it's not such a bad thing, but the musical number. Like
That's
they
a bad
always,
thing. Hey.
It's a bad thing. They always fall back on
That's a good point. I
musical
forgot about the
numbers.
musical number. And it wasn't the worst
It
musical
was not
number.
It wasn't the
one.
worst. At least it was Rocky Horror, which has something to do with Halloween.
That's true. That's a good
So-
point.
So that's a great point. What would you give it, Jeff?
4.
Dan?
I'm thinking 4 also.
I was thinking 4.5. Now maybe take off the 0.5 for the musical
Just
number.
use that elixir.
And I could do 4.
Use your mega elixir.
All right,
Jeff.
all right. So fine. I'm
just
going
elixir,
to.
though.
I'm not going to give it a 5 in
There's mega
production.
elixirs.
I'm not going to
Kills
give
the
it.
whole party. Even the character's not in your party.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to give it a 5 in production, but I will not deduct a full half point for the musical. So I'll go 4.5 in the originality.
4.25.
Okay, we have crunched our numbers, and probably not a surprise if you listen to us talk about this episode, but Halloween of Horrors from season 27 has ranked as our new least worst episode ever.
And
So-
it's our least worst episode ever. I still think that this is inferior in some ways to most of the classic episodes.
well, I mean, as we said, it was not as funny as maybe it could have
I
been.
like to picture the classic episodes in our Hippo system. I would like to think that all of them, maybe some that I can't think of off the top of my head, but almost
Yeah.
all of them would be in the 4 to 5 range.
Yeah, right.
This one, if we actually crunch the numbers, is probably right around 4, but probably a little less. So that feels right to me.
Yeah,
it was a good episode. I
agree.
don't think it's. I if every episode of the season 27 was this good, that would be. Maybe not
That'd
the
be
comeback.
well,
It
it'd be
would be a
close to the
comeback.
comeback season.
It would be a comeback, but it still wouldn't be season 8.
Having an episode
I
this
don't know.
good
if
already
comeback.
makes it a
It'll
bit
be
of
like
a
a
comeback
turnaround
season.
season.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It would be a turnaround season. I'd be very happy with that. But
If there's 2
it's
more episodes
still,
of this quality in this season, it's a comeback
It's
season.
still not appointment.
Still
it's
turnaround
it's still
season.
not.
'Cause you're
Turn-
setting the
turnaround
foundation,
season.
and
Yeah,
then you gotta.
Right.
If it was
build
this
it off.
good every week, would I watch it if we weren't doing a podcast? Would I watch it like the way I watched Archer or
I
Comedy
might
Bang
watch this
Bang?
episode again.
I might watch it again, but
No,
I'm
but like
saying-
I might actually like this week. I might watch this
I'm
episode
saying
again.
if the show was consistently this good, would you watch the show again?
Probably.
What if you weren't like out of context? You weren't a Simpsons fan. Would you watch the show independently?
Well,
like,
that's tough to say. But I was
I
like,
know.
if you were a totally
I'm just
different
saying,
person.
is it as good as good comedy television?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's as funny as good comedy television, but this episode had more to it than just humor.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why I like it so much.
Yeah, so I just want to. I'm trying. I just like to get. I feel like I'm being such a party pooper, but I just
You
wanna,
are.
I just want to give
I feel
it.
pooped
I just want
upon.
to give some grains of salt. That's all with this least worst.
I
episode ever
don't need
title.
the sodium, buddy.
There's
All
yet
right?
to been
Keep your sodium to
with
yourself.
there's yet to been like a least worst episode ever. I was like, wow, this was reminding me of the good old days.
Yeah. You know what? This reminded me a lot of The Squirt and the Whale, actually, which was another emotional episode
Lisa
that wasn't very
that
funny.
wasn't very funny. Yeah.
But it was a good episode. I
but
would
this
recommend that
this
episode.
is definitely better. This did things better than
Yeah.
I would say the Squirt and the Whale animation. I think I liked better than this one. I don't know what my numbers actually say, but that's what I'm saying.
you have them
That's
the
why I'm
same,
saying I
actually.
don't think this is a 5.
But I had given that one a 4.5. I don't know if this is on the air anymore.
I don't
Okay, so that is it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. We want to thank our guest, our buddy Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Happy
Thank you for having
birthday.
me.
Thank you.
Sorry for wishing you happy birthday.
Sons of bitches.
If you have a terrible Simpsons episode that you would like to suggest, or another great episode, that'd be fine too. You can do that on our website. It's weepodcast.com. That's weepodcast.com. And while you're there, you
Right.
can get to our Reddit, our Facebook, our Twitter, all of our fun things. And of course, you can click our Amazon links and help support the show and keep it free. You just click on our links and then shop like you normally would. And if you're listening to this the day it comes out, Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia in Brooklyn is tonight. It is at Berry Park in Williamsburg. You can Google Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia to find more information out about that. I co-host it with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie. It's
Jeff,
a lot
you going?
of fun. Jeff, you going?
You gonna drive
tonight?
us home so we can do Traffic Jam podcast?
Thanks, buddy. We may do another Traffic Jam cast.
I should
We'll
be
see.
there.
We'll see. And if you live in other cities in North America, just Google Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia. There might be one near you. And if you haven't listened to our Simpsons movie commentary, Sync Points #1, that's our movie commentary series. We began with the Simpsons movie. You can get that on our website also, weepodcast.com. It's $2.
Jeff, what did you think of our movie commentary?
I thought it was great.
All right, good save.
That's a good save. Yeah, so check that out, $2. And it's so worth it. It will just blow your mind. Blow your mind all over your face.
It's easily
hole.
$3 worth of.
You know what?
That's
We
the
just
thing.
raised the price.
That's-
Now it's $3.
The
because
Jeff
Said
price.
it was
I'm
worth it.
sorry, everybody.
The Jeff tariff.
Hope you got in while it was still 2.
It's tariff with a G.
No one will get that.
Well,
There's
your
probably a
name's
couple-
going to be on
There's
in the episode.
probably a Jeff with a G listening to this and just be like, finally, my people.
I'm a Jeff with a G.
You will talk like that.
No, you do.
They're traumatized from all the constant misspelling of their name.
That's right. Next week, we're going to be watching an episode from season 14. It's actually the 300th episode, I think, of the series. It is
Wait,
called...
we're not watching a Halloween episode next week?
Could if you want to. No, we're not. We're going to watch Barding Over. I know next to nothing about this except Blink-182 is in it. And it was right around the time when I stopped watching the series.
Fair enough.
So we'll be watching that next week. You can check that out. Season 14, Barding Over. And the final thing we have to do is our Cut All This.
Yeah,
which-
we're actually out. I think we mentioned this last week. We have a couple left we're saving from some of our favorite cat submitters who actually submitted more than one cat.
Right.
So we're kind of saving those for a rainy day. Definitely not going to do one this week because we have somebody who can do one for us.
Yes.
Jeff, basically, since we know you don't listen to the show, every week some listener calls in and tells us to cut all this. So it's your turn to tell us to basically shut up and to cut all this.
Yeah, you should like this part of the show.
Yeah, you can in any way, in the most Jeff way possible, let us know that you're done hearing us talk.
Just cut all this.
Halloween at the Simpsons. What a classic tradition. Are you heading up to the treehouse to tell 3 horrifying tales?
Yeah, we're doing it next week. It's gonna be Psycho with Skinner and his mom, Muppet Wizard of Oz, I'm Scarecrow Fozzie, and then one where furniture gets smart and takes over the world or something.
Sounds chillin'.
People love it.